John's insights today will provide the clarity and direction you need for substantial growth.
The deeper you understand that, the better off you're going to be in your business.
Something I took away from it as well was that implementing AI doesn't just transform the customer's experience, but it revolutionizes how we think about growth and scaling in e-commerce.
In reality, our whole business is based on pretty much AI.
Identify clearly what their pain is and they see it straight away on your website because you have that insight, then customers feel at home on your website and are much more likely to purchase from you.
And that really ends up freeing up valuable time for you to make better business owner decisions.
Welcome to the Dropship Unlocked Podcast. I'm Lewis Smith, the founder of Dropship Unlocked, and with me is our client success coach, James Eardley. Now, when we're not recording the podcast episodes, we're running our own e-commerce businesses and helping aspiring entrepreneurs launch their own high-ticket dropshipping businesses. Keen to build your own 6 or even 7-figure business? My book, The Home Turf Advantage, is your blueprint for launching a profitable online store. Grab your copy at htabook.com today and let's get you started. Now sit back, relax, and let's unlock your potential with the Dropship Unlocked podcast. Today, we're excited to host John Lawson, a renowned figure in the e-commerce space and the brains behind colderice.com. John has significantly shaped the e-commerce world through his strategic insights and as the CEO of Third Power Outlet. As a speaker and an author, John has insights to help you grow your e-commerce business no matter what stage of growth you're at.
Yes, John's a great character, and his journey from a business influencer to a leading e-commerce strategist offers valuable lessons on leveraging AI for business growth. Today, he'll delve into how artificial intelligence is not just a tool, but a transformative force in personalizing your customers' experiences and scaling your e-commerce operations effectively.
Yeah, today we'll be covering everything from creating precise customer avatars to foundational business strategies that can help our listeners navigate the complexities of AI integration with their e-commerce stores. So whether you're just starting out or perhaps you're looking to refine your approach and you're already a bit more established, John's insights today will provide the clarity and direction you need for substantial growth. So let's dive in.
So welcome everyone. Today I am excited to be joined by John Lawson. John is a towering figure in the world of e-commerce, renowned for his work at colderice.com and also a CEO of Third Power Outlet, which is an online retail clothing and accessories company. As a small business influencer of the year, John brings a wealth of knowledge on AI's role in e-commerce and also strategic business growth. So John, firstly, it's fantastic to have you with us today.
Man, thanks a lot. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Cool. Let's kick things off. We're going to go deep into the world of AI and e-commerce because I know you've been diving deep into that yourself. But firstly, let's have a little bit of a backstory if we can. So let me know a little bit more about your journey and how you've got to the position that you're in today.
Okay. So I'm an e-commerce dinosaur. I started my business in 2000, so that's a long time ago. Basically, I was buying stuff on eBay back in the day. And long story short, I got involved in a real estate deal where I was supposed to flip a house, and I never flipped the house. I got stuck with a second mortgage. I was working a full-time job in consulting, and all of a sudden, I was about to go bankrupt. And during that phase, somebody mentioned to me, he's like, hey, why don't you sell stuff on eBay? And I'm like, eBay? Really? I could sell stuff on there? He's like, yeah. And I started selling used books because I was an IT professional, and we used to have a lot of IT books. They used to give us an actual stipend so that we could stay, current on IT languages and things like that. So I would use that to buy these big, thick, heavy books, around different languages and processes and all that good stuff. So, once you learn what you need to learn, I didn't really need the book anymore. So I started taking those books putting them on eBay and starting flipping those. And that was helping me meet my, debt needs. So I didn't have to file that bankruptcy. Fast forward that to about 3 years, I ended up leaving that corporate job completely, going 100% into e-com, and really never looked back. So I've been doing this game for 23 years basically now, 24. Yeah, it's a long time.
Seasoned professional these days.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. I'm that old, pan that's just kind of burnt and worn out, but it makes great eggs.
The experience is what we love to dive into today. It's going to be fascinating. So it's interesting how those situations where you have to make it work, you kind of, you make it work because you're pushed into that position where you need to get some money. Do you think that played a part in your success with growing an e-commerce business at that time because of the position you were in?
It's really weird. It's almost impossible for me to duplicate, and it's impossible really to recreate that thing. So it's like, let's get together, let's hustle, but I mean, there's nothing like that where it's like everything's about to fall apart and you've got to make stuff happen to really generate ideas and hit the pavement. So that definitely had a lot to do with me innovating and finding new ways to generate income. Like I said, today we'll get together and we'll formulate these needs in a office environment, and it's like, here's the things that are coming up that we need to be looking out for, and if you do your SWOT analysis, right? But then it's like, it's not the same as, look, if you don't make this money today, the kids don't eat, So there's something to be had there. And I don't know if it's something that you cherish, but if you're in that state right now, which, many people are, I really want to give those folks a lot of encouragement, because it really helps you think outside the box and take chances and risks that you might not normally take. So go for it and, do it.
Exactly. It can actually be a superpower. When you put yourself up against the competition that you're up against, you might think, well, they're well funded, they're experienced, but actually, when you've got to make it work, you can get some energy, get some fire from somewhere else within you. So bringing us up to date, then John. So from that position, having to make it work and getting started with just eBay, bring us up to date then with some of your career now with e-commerce.
So today I dedicate my time, working with small business owners. I do a lot of coaching, training, and also part of the reason why I'm here is I'm developing AI solutions that address common e-commerce challenges. So I'm trying to stay at the forefront of the innovation, and at the same time, I'm continually exploring what's new and emerging in the e-commerce space, along with the AI advancements and their practical applications in that market.
Fantastic. And that will certainly keep you busy with the speed of the advancements in AI at the moment. I'm sure you're kept on your feet. What would you say then are some of the most effective uses of AI for e-commerce business owners?
First and foremost, content creation. And that was always a issue for me, just in general. I don't like sitting down and writing things. I'm just not I can write, but I'm not a great writer. And so when I was asked to this thing, there it is. That's the book I published, right? I made a book, but it wasn't me making the book. It was me telling the story to a ghostwriter. Although I didn't do it as a ghostwriter, I put her on the cover. So it's like John Lawson and the "and" is real teeny. That's her down there, But the deal was, it's like there's a skill to writing, depending on what kind of writing you're doing, whether you're writing the novels or if you're writing, marketing content, there's skill levels to writing. I didn't have it. I would try to emulate it and copy it, and then I got away with it, But when I got first introduced to this tool called ChatGPT, it was like, oh, wow, it writes pretty well. And so I think, content creation and content generation was it is the obvious thing right now because it's been doing it for the last 18 months, year and a half, not even 2 years yet. But it does it well, and it doesn't necessarily replace human great writers. I mean, it's not going to write a novel like a Stephen King, but when it comes to just making content for our business, we use that a lot now, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the cost effectiveness is something that strikes me. You've got something like ChatGPT, for, what is it, $10 a month or something along, maybe a bit, about $16 a month or something like that for the ChatGPT 4.
No, it's $20 a month, so it's probably 16, euros or shekels or whatever you guys use over there. It's like, I'm teasing.
That's where I've got it from.
It's really, it's about $20 a month US for the professional version. You can actually use it as of now. You can use it without an account as of just the last 2 weeks. They've opened it up so you can go to their page, chat.openai.com, and use it without an account at all. So it's open to the world now.
This is it. It's going to become even more commonplace. But specifically, I'm thinking for e-commerce business owners, most people now are getting aware of ChatGPT, although I'd still say we're still fairly early adopters potentially in the overall landscape of things. You think how things are going to be going in the future. So the best use cases that you've seen for e-commerce business owners is, I guess, email, blog posts, copy on your product pages. Where would you say the best places for AI?
Not really. See, because here's the thing, guys. We are e-commerce. What's the E for? Electronic. So in reality, our whole business is based on pretty much AI. When you use Google Analytics, that is an AI tool. So, a lot of the things that we do with search on our sites are done with artificial intelligence. It's trying to, when people type in a couple of letters and it fills in what they hopefully are looking for, that's artificial intelligence. So we've been using artificial intelligence tools for a long time. What is happening with these, this like ChatGPT kind of thing is that it put a chat interface on a very, very complex compute tool on the back end. So it's allowing us to use natural language to speak to get out the results that we want to get. But if you use, a tool like, I'm thinking even in Shopify Analytics, you can actually ask it some question in the analytics about what is our average order volume, AOV for our, store, and it'll pop out and say your average order is this, or it'll give you a chart that shows you what the average, all of that is done with AI, right? Because it's taken a lot of, and that's why it can compute it to the moment. So if somebody buys a new thing, you refresh the screen, it's going to update the analytics. All of that's done with AI. The unique thing about ChatGPT, like I said, is it put a chat interface on front of all of this amazing compute power. So think about it in that way. And then you start thinking about it, strategically, you're able to use AI to help leverage data and help you make better decisions. So it's not just about the things that we see in terms of creating content. It's crucial for us to identify our KPIs because that's what matters most for us in the e-commerce. We got to be able to look at what happened today versus what happened yesterday, versus what happened a year ago to see if we're moving forward or backwards and then make adjustments based on that. So using AI to monitor and optimize our metric is huge for us. And then now to take those same kind of reports, and this is some people maybe do or do not know, is that you can take, a download from your analytics inside of, your store tool with it. If it's the Shopify Analytics, you can get the CSV file downloaded and then take that and upload it to a ChatGPT and then start having a conversation with the data. to see if it can recognize some trends that you might not be aware of or not be able to see. And that really ends up freeing up valuable time for you to make better business owner decisions.
That's the key. So I think my interpretation of using AI is that we've still got to have the business fundamentals in place. And we still got to know sort of strategically how we want to run the business and what the KPIs are, so that we can then extract what ChatGPT can tell us from looking at our data. We still need to have the foundations ourselves in place. Is that how you see AI? Like, it's like a hybrid?
Not totally. See, because here's what, and yes, you have to know those things. But the cool thing is that AI can actually teach you those things. So you can ask AI, hey, if you're in ChatGPT, you can start the conversation with, hey, I run an e-commerce business. I run an e-commerce business on shoelaces. So I say, hey, I run an e-commerce business. I do shoelaces. That's what I sell. I sell X amount per year. I might upload a quick balance sheet and just show what it's doing. And then I could ask it, what are some crucial KPIs that matter for a business like mine? And based on the fact that it has, we're not at AGI yet, even though I'm going to say it has general knowledge. It does have a lot of general knowledge that it can come back and say, here's some of the things that you should be looking out for. So it can help educate you on being a better business owner as well. So don't overlook that part when we're trying to find answers to our questions. It also can help us because it's able to translate all of its stuff and come. Okay, so that's part of the chat, right? So the chat part is, yes, we can chat with it in natural language and then speak to this huge multi-billion-dollar computer, right? And then it also allows that multi-billion-dollar computer to come back and speak to us in natural language that we can understand. So it's a two-way street. So it's not just about giving it information. It has some information that we can glean from it by simply querying it with the right question.
Fantastic. So for a lot of people listening that perhaps, they're early on in their e-commerce business, what type of prompts would you give to ChatGPT from a foundational point of view for them to be taught essentially by the machine that we have access to? What sort of questions would you ask? As a nice broad question for you there what would you ask it so it can give you some lessons?
That's a great question. So here's the thing, man. You use one of these words, prompt, right? And we've gotten to the point where we listen to people and they be like, well, what prompt did you use? How did you get that? And I mean, prompting is kind of, they've called it prompt engineering, as if, you had to go to engineering school to, whatever, man. It's overblown, in my opinion, at some level. Okay. What you need to do if you're just getting started is first give it some context, right? So just like I said, or just like we're doing here, you're finding out little things about me by asking me a few questions, right? And I'm telling you about me by, hey, I'm John Lawson. Here's my introduction. This is what I do. Here's my business. That's what you want to do first. First, tell it about you and your business, okay? And just, hide this and have a conversation. Let's just pretend that we're having a conversation. Because what that does is it opens up the way that we are able to communicate. Conversation is communication, right? So being able to conversate with this compute power is very, very powerful. So what you want to do is simply have a conversation with it. Say, use just natural language. Hi, I'm John. I'm the owner of Third Power Outlet. It's an e-commerce company. We sell shoelaces. We sell on the Amazon marketplace. We sell on our own Shopify store. Okay. Last year, we did 1.2 million in this product, and then we did another 30 million in this product. Well, that we won't put that on there because that's my speaking, right? But let's say we put like I do shoelaces, I'll do some hats, and some other products, and I'll just put that in there, right? And then start having a conversation. Like, what what are some things that I need to be looking out for as a CEO of this business, and just see what it answers you. And then have a conversation back based on that input. Great. What else do you want to know? What are some SEO keywords I should be looking for? It'll start popping out that kind of information. Now, understand that this will be baseline information, right? It'll be based on your input will determine its output. You know what I'm saying? So the deeper my questions become, the more understanding that I have and bring to the conversation, that's going to bring out more of its knowledge base, right? So if I was starting, that's where I would start. I wouldn't worry about asking it any specific prompts or anything. Just start having the conversation, and I guarantee you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. You'll start in a rabbit hole, honestly. And then once it starts telling you stuff, you'll be like, okay, well, write an ad for that. And then it'll be like, whoa, the ad will be so relevant because you've already gave it context about your business, about the number of sales. You might start talking about who we try to, who our audience is, all of those things. As you keep putting that in, it builds its conversation based on past knowledge that it has about your specific, business. And that is some value, man. It gives you a lot of clarity and direction on how to use the tool after that. Now, once you get into that phase, you get kind of comfortable with that, then we'll start talking about how prompts work and how that will, help elevate your responses from this tool. But I guarantee you, just talking to it in the beginning will give you responses you never thought of. It's sort of like a co-pilot. That's the way I actually think of it, as an extension of my own brain, really, right? It's because it's like, I got a lot of information in my brain, but I don't have all the information in your brain and that person's brain and these books, these blog posts. I don't have all of these YouTube videos. It's been trained on all of that stuff, right? And so it's not going to throw it all at us, like a water hose. You just be sitting there, can't drink it all. So it'll give you little things as you have the conversation. But the more and more deeper you get in, the deeper its knowledge becomes apparent to you.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think my first thoughts when we realized that AI was the tool it was that it would be able to replace the repetitive jobs that, you give out to people that you think are just the things to go away. But actually it's coming in at a higher level than that. You can actually speak with it, give it context, and treat it like a business mentor, essentially, with 30, 50 years of experience in business. You can have that if you give it the context and explain what you want from it. So that's what it blew my mind really when I really, really realized how valuable, how much you'd pay to have like a 30-year experience expert in e-commerce on your team.
I'll tell you exactly how much you'll pay to have a 20-year team.
Yeah, fantastic. But no, it is fascinating. So John, I know you are also a business strategist at heart, and but AI plays a big role in that. So I want to dive into that as well for listeners that are fairly new in getting into an e-commerce business. Could you let me know a little bit about the foundational, conversations they should have with ChatGPT, but also the foundational things that they need to get in place?
So I think the first thing you have to understand is who your market is. All right. So I'll give you an example from my world. So when I first was doing e-com, we sold a whole lot of different things. One of the things that we sold, one day I walk in to my supplier and they have on the shelf a bunch of bandanas. So you know what a bandana is? I'm going to make sure it translates. I don't know. What do you call them in your culture? Are they called bandanas?
Bandanas, we've got those, yeah, around the neck.
Yeah, and with the paisleys on them.
They're like triangular.
Yep. So it was a bandana. And when I was getting started, remember, this is the early 2000s, okay? This is before rap really took over the world. I was a young, African-American kid, and I was younger. I wasn't that young. But I was all into hip-hop. And when I saw the bandanas, Bandanas are something that was really popular in the hip hop world. They still use them. But I mean, at that time, it was, everybody was wearing bandanas, right? And one of the biggest stars at the time was Tupac. Now, he had been dead, but he was having this resurrection life where everybody was hearing his music all over again, and a new album that came out posthumously. And you would see these images, and he'd have a bandana on his. The bandana, however, is turned backwards and it's tied this way, right? And so when I saw the bandana, I started selling the bandana for the hip-hop crowd. The number one question I would get, however, would be like, how do I fold it to look like Tupac? I'm like, duh, everybody knows how to do that, don't they? What I didn't realize is that we were going from, being a local product-based business to now being on a platform that was worldwide. And so what we knew how to do in our community, they didn't understand in their community. They just wanted to look like the rapper on TV. So they would ask me that question, right? So after that, I started understanding my audience. So I made content for that audience, for the kid that would see rappers on television, but didn't have anybody in their community to show them how to do their fashion. So my whole business shifted, and I started purchasing stuff from my local suppliers and selling it worldwide because they didn't have access to the stuff that was on the street corners in our neighborhood. And that really propelled my business because now I understood who my audience was. My audience wasn't just somebody that lived next door to me, that it was now a worldwide audience, and they were interested in all aspects of this hip-hop accessories. And so that shifted my entire business, So now I started looking at things completely different. One of the things I did do was made a video on YouTube that said how to fold a bandana like Tupac, because I got so tired of answering the same question. So every time they would send the question in, I would just say, hey, here's a link, go watch the video. And in the video, I'd show them exactly how to fold it, right? That one video, honestly, I want to claim that I was one of the first, but I really do believe I was one of the first people that ever used YouTube to sell product, because it just wasn't that. I wasn't doing it. I just happened to not want people to steal my video. So what I did was at the end of the video, I said, hey, if you want to order bandanas, hit me up here, right? And then I put little tags on all my product in the video that had my business card on it. So I was branding the video. This was 2007, mind you. All right. This is a long time ago, but that video ended up going viral. Even my competitors started embedding that video on their homepages to answer that question. That's how much, the question was being asked. So anyway, it was really from that understanding of my audience that I was able to figure out what other products my audience that I already had would purchase. See, so sometimes when it comes to, we want to build wide, you have to understand your audience, and then you can build deep. And that becomes the thing that guards you from, or puts a moat around your castle so that other people don't jump in and do what you're doing. Now, that's the positive part. The other part you have to understand is your platform that you're on, right? E-commerce. The problem with e-commerce, not the problem, but the reality of e-commerce is that anything I do, I can almost, or anything you do, I can almost back into figuring out how much of it you're actually doing, right? Because there's so many tools out here. Like we said, there's all these, intelligent tools that help us understand how much volume is there around certain keywords that are associated with your product, right? So I can actually, I don't have to go into a market completely blind. I can use other people's, data inside of that market and start piecing out to get an idea. I can't get a total balance sheet of exactly what you're doing, but I can get an idea of what the possible volume of a product is. and what the size of that market might be. All that data is available to me once I know the product and the audience. So that is important for you to know. What is the audience that your product serves and who they serve it for? Because the way that we service a bandana for a person in, the hip hop world versus a person that's watching it from, overseas somewhere and seeing it on TV, how do they interpret that is completely different. The questions they have are totally different, and the experiences they have are going to be unique to their own environment. So all of that is very important for you to know. The deeper you understand that, the better off you're going to be in your business.
Yeah, that's all part of the game. It's being open, isn't it, and adaptable to what the market tells you in terms of what questions they ask, and what that they'll tell you with their wallets. They'll tell you what they're buying. That you need to listen to that as well. I know that you're working and you're going deep into AI, and you've created a GPT for ChatGPT. Tell me a bit more about that.
Okay, fantastic. This is the fun part, guys. It's like if you have to have a paid version of ChatGPT to see this thing called GPTs. All right. And so I created a GPT called Ecom AI Boss. So if you just go to ecomaiboss.com, it's a free tool, right? And what it does extremely well is it writes product titles and description. Okay. And for me, the worst part of being in business, like I said before, I wasn't a good writer. And so I was really good at finding product, right? But they would sit on my warehouse floor waiting for me to write the description and the title, because I hated the blank page. So once I got into writing GPTs, I wrote a GPT to help me. I made this for me, write product titles and description. And literally, you just put in whatever bullet points you get or whatever, description that you would get from your vendor, let's say, because, hey, if you're doing dropshipping, they give you all the information you need. But what you want is yours to look different than the, static version that everybody else might use. So you can use yours to help stand out. You can use the keywords in there. So this tool will take that information and create you a very, very highly targeted, really crafted product title and description for marketing your product. It's just fantastic. And I know it's fantastic because, like I said, I didn't make it for you. I made it for me. And so once it was working well for us, I was like, why don't you throw it out there and let other people use it? And that's what we ended up doing, So that's what it does. But also it does that. There's another part to it. It'll create a detailed customer avatar. Have you ever created an avatar?
Yes, I have, but myself, not with AI. And I've done it through analytics, Google Analytics. And I've picked out all of the information I can from analytics to work out what my most common target consumer is from there. But if there's an AI tool that will speed that process up, it sounds like.
It is a painful process, because you got to figure out, well, how old are they? Where do they live? How many kids do they have? What TV shows are they interested in? What people do they follow on social media? The more deep and detailed you can get on these kind of avatars, then the more relevant your content can become. So this literally, if you put the product in, right, and you tell it what the audience is that it's supposed to be, it'll create a detailed customer avatar. And it'll give you 9 tables full of all kinds of stuff. What school they went to, what books they read, what shows they watch, all of that to give you a full view of a customer avatar. And then if I write content that is specifically, for Billy, if Billy's my customer avatar, then the deal is it'll resonate with that Billy, but there are thousands, tens of thousands of Billies that actually follow and need your product. And all of a sudden your content is really relevant to their needs. So it helps do that as well.
Incredible, because I've tried to create customer avatars through asking customer surveys as well, asking them, what was your pain point? What was the reason that you're in the market initially, and why specifically this product? But then you're limited to first of all, how many people respond to the survey and how in depth people go with the responses. So you have to get, if in terms of high ticket products that we sell, it can take months to get a significant amount of data that we can actually rely on. So how does your tool actually create an avatar? Like, does it pick at all these different information points that it has around the globe? Is that how it can piece together an avatar?
So it does two things, okay? It uses the data that it has from all of its understanding, and then it infers other parts. Okay, so it's actually generating a character, and it's giving your character its full life, right? So if you think about, if you're writing a character in a book, you have to have that understanding of all the parts of that character so that when you write the dialogue for that character, it makes sense based on all the things that character's been through. It does both of those things to come up with this avatar, and it does it in very deep detail. So it's actually creating a persona. And then that persona is fictitious, but it's based on actual data.
Fantastic.
And then I tell people, create at least 3 different avatars for each of your niches, right? Because you might have a young person, an older person, a male, a female. They might be married, single, gay, straight, all kind of different things. And based on those little nuances, everything in that chart about who they follow, what they watch, what they're interested in changes, because it's not a monolith. We're not monolithic kind of people. So, if we just take that, it helps us to really target and put together a playbook that's going to be relevant to our customer base. Like you said, for high-end product, it's worth the time to do that. A lot of us for low-end product, we just we throw it out there, it'll just sell. But hey, once I started making the video for the bandana folding, the amount of love and customer affiliates that we would get from that were just amazing. Because all of a sudden, we were hitting that pain point, and we were finding the one question that most people were asking, and our video would be the answer to that question, and we would be able to sell them on the product. And they trusted us after that. After I told you what you needed to know and to make a decision, once I tell you the answer, you trust me. And it's way easier to sell something to people that know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you can identify clearly what their pain is and they see it straight away on your website because you have that insight, then customers feel at home on your website and are much more likely to purchase from you. So, John, it's been a fantastic conversation. We'll wrap things up there because I think people will be keen to learn more. If they want to work with you, John, whether that's on a coaching point of view or with your AI tool, where would you point people to go?
Just go to my name, johnlawson.com, johnlawson.com, or, I am Colder Ice. So it's in the thing, COLDERICE, one word. Put that in Google and you'll find me. That's all me. I am Colder Ice.
Fantastic. Amazing. Thank you for joining us today, John. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, James. That was fun.
Well, Lewis, having John Lawson share his insights on AI for e-commerce and his business strategy insights was really enjoyable. His perspective on integrating AI for personalization and strategic scaling really highlights the potential shifts in how we can approach our online businesses.
Absolutely, James. Yep, John's blend of AI innovations and the strategic clarity that he gave today really offers a clear roadmap for our listeners. So really, really valuable conversation. Something I took away from it as well was that implementing AI doesn't just transform the customer's experience, but it revolutionizes how we think about growth and scaling in e-commerce. So it's about leveraging this new technology to enhance our human touch that we're already putting onto our businesses. So really valuable conversation today.
Yes, so many golden nuggets and insights from that conversation with John, whether you are ready to go and implement them straight away, or if you've just been inspired today by John's energy and experience. I'm sure there's been lots of takeaways from today's conversation.
Yeah, if you have been inspired by today's conversation and you want to take your e-commerce journey to the next level, then I'd recommend checking out my book at htabook.com. Combining the strategic frameworks laid out with John's expertise can truly set the stage for some incredible growth in your business. Remember, it's about building a solid foundation that you can then leverage the best of what AI and personalized e-commerce strategies have to offer.
Enjoying the podcast? We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment or a review, and we might just feature it on an upcoming episode. Also, for detailed show notes and resources, head to dropshipunlocked.com/podcast.
If you found value from any episode of this podcast, please take just 10 seconds to leave us a quick 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. It helps us more than you could imagine, and who knows, you might just hear your comments on the show. Thanks for being part of our community. Your support helps us keep delivering a new episode every week.
Okay, we're going to answer a question now that's come in from listeners of the podcast. And this question has come in from Dom. So remember, if you want a question answered on the podcast, all you need to do is leave a YouTube comment beneath the YouTube video version of this episode. So that's exactly what Dom Morton 3476 has done. And he has asked, I want to start a business, but I'm a very logical person and I need to see a clear path to success. Now that I am starting a dropshipping business, how can I be sure that I'm doing the right things?
Yeah, great question, Dom, and thanks for leaving that as a YouTube comment on one of our videos. It really shows the importance of following a proven step-by-step approach to building a dropshipping business, especially if you're someone, like you say, that is a very logical person and likes to see that clear path. So we've certainly laid out the path inside our training programs. We've had hundreds of members successfully launch their businesses following these exact steps. It provides a clear path, removing the guesswork, and it significantly increases the likelihood of success because you're not figuring it out from trial and error. It's a proven blueprint that you can follow step by step. We also regularly share success stories on our podcast and YouTube channel, so make sure you're subscribed to that. These are real examples of real individuals who were once in the same position as you and followed the path to achieve remarkable results. Remember, if it's worked for someone else, there's a very good chance it can work for you too if you're following the same process that they followed. And if you get stuck, remember, you want to be around a group of people who can help you when you get stuck as well. So that's just another benefit of seeking out that kind of training. You will most likely get stuck along the way. That's an inevitability, but it's that belief that if others have figured out the path as well, then so can you. With the right support network, with the right training, why can you not do it too? This kind of belief can serve as a really powerful motivation, pushing you to take consistent action. And as I said, getting involved in a community of like-minded individuals, that can be the real game changer. If you can surround yourself with people who are on that same journey as you, it not only gives you the valuable insights, but it also supports you and boosts your confidence as and when you have those tough moments in business, which we've all had. Seeing other people get past those hurdles and then go on to succeed, ask them questions about how they did it, share your experiences if you hit those problems and hurdles as well, and then celebrate our wins together. That's what really reinforces that we're on the right path. And it's a very logical, very clear path. It's not easy, but it's very straightforward, very simple, especially when you have the right training at your fingertips and you're surrounded by the right community.
Exactly. If you see yourself as a very logical person, there's nothing like being around others that are achieving the success that you're striving for. You can ask them questions and take the same actions that they're taking to achieve the same success. So thank you for your question. And we're now going to highlight a review that we've had in for the podcast. So thank you very much. I love doing this on the episodes. And a big thank you today to Mohammed Usman, who's left us a comment on YouTube actually to review, let us know your thoughts on the channel and also on the podcast. So Mohammed said, thank you for sharing your experience. It helps a lot for people like me who are searching for this information. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words, Mohammed Usman. We really appreciate the YouTube comment. Before we go, I have one question for you that I'd really appreciate if you could help us with. Have you left us a review yet? If not, please leave our podcast a review, whether you're listening to us in the car, on a walk at the moment, in the gym, or just at home. It should take you about 10 seconds to do, but it does wonders for us, and it's a really big part of what drives us to continue doing them. So if you've enjoyed this and you'd like us to continue with the podcast and you haven't yet left us a review, please just take a quick moment to do so now, and hopefully we can read it out for you on an upcoming episode soon.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Dropship Unlocked podcast. We hope you're walking away with insights and inspiration.
To kickstart your e-commerce journey, grab a copy of my book, The Home Turf Advantage, at htabook.com. It's a distilled guide based on real experience to help you build your e-commerce venture.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more strategies and success stories. And if you like what you heard, a 5-star review would mean the world to us, and you might just get a shout out on an upcoming episode.
And finally, thank you for deciding to spend your time with us today. We can't wait to bring you more insights on the next episode of the Dropship Unlocked podcast.